All right, finishing the day in the green. We're going to do a recap of today's trades. Before I do, I want to mention that episode 2 of my small account challenge was uploaded last night. So episode 2 will show you the trades from days 2, 3, 4, and day 5. As I finished day 5 of my small account challenge, my account was up about 140%. Started with $1,000. Finished on day 5 at about $2,400 total in the account, so $1,400 of profit. So solid return. The account is growing. It's off to a good start, and I'm trading in it pretty much every day. So these recaps are for my large account, and then the small account, I'm just doing weekly recaps and consolidating all of those trades into that recap. So make sure you check that out. And also at the end of that episode, I dropped a link to do a 1-month trial at Warrior Trading. It doesn't rebill, it's just 1 month. It includes access to our simulator, access to the charts, the scanners, and access to my live audio video broadcast. So you guys can check that out if you'd like, and I hope you do. So now let's look at trades for today. I have to say that, Roma yesterday was a stock that I, was like, I don't like it. It's just, I don't know, it's dropped 80%. And then shortly after the recap, it ends up, squeezing here from about 250 up to 5. Drops down, comes back up. And I didn't trade it yesterday. I didn't even look at it. I was like, nope, I had no idea it happened until later in the day when I saw some comments on YouTube, but I didn't look at the chart. So when I looked at it this morning, I was like, okay, yep, I see that. And I did take a couple trades on it this morning, but to be honest, the price action has not been very clean. I made less than $500 on it. My total P&L today is $2,709.39. A green day, but not big winners on anything. And the fact is, if we look at our gap scanner right now, in terms of let's start big picture with rating for the day, our leading gapper was only 38%. 38% is not a big gapper. So I gave today a score of a 2. We did have some trades earlier. This is on a scale of 1 out of 10. So after several days of 2s and 3s, I would say we're in a bit of a cold stretch here. SPEC, yes, it did pop up this morning. This was the first stock I traded. Not suitable for the small account because it's too cheap, but fine for the big account. The problem is, when it first popped up, I was like, well, I'm familiar with SPEC. I'm familiar with it because it was, moving just a couple days ago, but on the daily chart, you can see it popped up and sold off. 2 days of pullback, and now it's coming back up. The result was that the relative volume today, when it first hit the scanners, was only like 0.26. I prefer relative volume of 5 or higher. So the relative volume was pretty low on it. I saw the news headline and I was like, launches into trucking market. I don't know. Is this going to send the stock up 50, 100%? I don't really think so. Have to be careful trying to analyze that news. And so I pulled up the daily chart and I was like, well, what was the high from, a couple days ago? So I marked that out. I was like, all right. So it was 435 pre-market high. And it was about 323 regular trading hours high. Something like right around here, 323-ish. And then I was like, oh, well, there was also this sort of pivot in this area. So I drew those levels out. And then this morning, as it started to pop up, I pull up the 1-minute chart and I'm like, well, it's kind of coming into this first resistance, which, let's see, it was right here, around 22, 23. So it's coming into that resistance level. And I thought, I don't know if this is going to work. Now, when I first saw it hit the scanners, I don't know, it was like 250 or 260, 270. And I just thought, volume is light. I don't really know about it. Kind of grinds higher up to 322. Pretty light volume, pulls back. Wasn't sure about buying right there. Spreads were a little bigger. Didn't trade it. Goes up to 340, 350. I was like, oh gosh, all right. Well, now look at it's 2, 4, 6, 7 green candles in a row. I can't really buy it up here. So I let it make this whole move. It pulls back. And I'm watching it in this area, but false breakout on this candle right here. So, topping tail, that's fine. False breakout right here. Another sort of false breakout right here. And so then I drew these to connect these lines. I said, this seems to be resistance. And this is sort of ascending support. So what I ended up doing was I took a trade right as it came up here for the break through this level. And I was hoping it would hold and keep going and I could add. but I wasn't sure it would because of this previous doji and the topping tail. So it didn't. I took my profit off the table, made $1,000. All right, so that was my one trade on SPEC. Nothing that exciting, but got green, made a little money on it. Ended up doing kind of a head and shoulders pattern, really like a tiny head here, and then this shoulder, and then coming back down. So no additional trades on it. Look at the volume at the open, though. Ton of volume in these first two candles, and then people are like, yeah, I'm done. I don't care about this stock anymore. So sort of funny how that worked. But anyways, so that was SPEC. BKYI, this one had news this morning, and it all of a sudden starts to pop up right here. And it's kind of wild because it pops up right here, and I was like, all right, I'm going to jump in this. SPEC was pulling back, and it was the right time of day for a stock to be hitting the scanner, and I knew this one had news. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take a starter, added it, I think 260, and then 275, and 3. It goes up to 320, 319, and then it starts to pull back, and I sold on the way back down. I was like, well, I guess it's not going higher. So made $1,000 on that one as well. 4,000 share total position, but just nothing really exciting. Small win, got out, was certainly not holding it after it pulled back this much. I was out by 280. So it pulls back, doesn't hold, and at that point I was like, well, our gap scanner's awful. So unless something pops up at the open, I'm probably not going to take any trades. And sure enough, Roma did pop up at the open. I took my first trade on it as it came up here for the high day break. Little scalp there, made a couple hundred. Gave that profit back on a dip trade here where it went lower, and then got back in as it came up here for one more trade and just said, you know, price action on this one's a little funny, and I don't really trust the stock that much. Chinese stock drops 80% on day one. I'm kind of over it. So anyways, so that was Roma. Just kind of a really, I don't know, weird price action. So left that alone, and you know, well, got one trade, but for the most part left it alone. And yeah, the gap scanner is just really weak today. So I think we're right now in a little bit of a colder cycle. I'm waiting for the next stock that makes that big, explosive, exciting move to get things going. And you know, it could happen at any time. You never know. So I keep showing up every day. I'm trading what's in front of me. I'm making a little bit here and there, but not hitting any home runs. That's okay. I'm locking up some base hits. Now, if you recall, yesterday was a red day. I was down $1,200. And I said, this is the fork in the road where I have to make a decision to just, and I think the right decision here is just to walk away. Keep the loss so small that it's like not a big deal at all. And so did I miss some opportunities on Roma as the day went on? Yes, maybe you could say that, but that's also presuming that I would have traded it and made money, and I could have traded it and lost money as well. So I don't feel like I really missed anything, because for me, I followed my rules. I walked away. That's good. That's a win. That's a victory. So, you know, coming back today with 3 trades or 3 stocks I traded, I'm locking up, you know, $2,700. Yesterday's loss is now water under the bridge. I made that back basically in the first trade, and my account is sitting at all-time highs. So, you know, right now I don't feel like I need to be super aggressive. I don't need to overtrade. I can just focus on catching some base hits here and there and, you know, living to trade another day. So, you know, the long and the short of it is that the market is a little bit slow right now, but we are at least seeing some opportunities each day. Even if they're kind of small, we're seeing a few opportunities here and there. So, you know, got a little profit on Roma. That was fine. A little profit on BKYI, a little profit on SPEC. And, you know, Bitcoin names were up today. The S&P 500 drops down, comes back up, sells off. We had CPI numbers at 8:30, and they were a little higher than expected. Not outrageous, but a little higher than expected. That's not great. The market, you know, would love to see interest rates decline. You know, easy borrowing come back. That's going to be good for the market, good for spending, good for companies. So, you know, it's not, the market would like to see that those inflation numbers are continuing to come down, because they need to come down in order for the Federal Reserve to feel comfortable bringing down interest rates. So with inflation or the CPI, you know, being up just a little bit higher, you know, market dipped, came back up. Now it's selling off a little bit more. Bitcoin names, a number of Bitcoin names that have been strong today with the Bitcoin ETF stuff going on. But, you know, I've really avoided trading that. I'm still not a fan Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at all. So I rarely trade the stocks. What is it? BTBT. There's a whole bunch of them, but I rarely trade these. For the most part, I just leave them alone. I just don't trust this industry or this sector at all. So anyways, yeah, so there's nothing to trade there for me. And overall, a little bit of a slow morning, but can't really complain. Green is good. So I'm going to live to trade another day. I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. So for those of you guys that didn't already check out episode 2, I'll put the link right up here in the top corner of this video. So check out episode 2 of my small account challenge, and hope to see you guys take advantage of the trial link that we put down there below. And I'll remind you, as always, that trading is risky. My results aren't typical, and there's no guarantee you'll find success, whether you trade with me or you learn on your own. So take it slow, practice in a simulator, and be cautious. All right, I'll see you for my recap tomorrow.